Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's time to talk some Smoky Mountain football, and we appreciate all our great friends, Carlisle Schomburg and Jared Boone, and all the folks for getting the ins and outs worked out so we can talk about some Mustang football with our friends at Smoky Mountain Physical Therapy. And Coach, hey, the great thing is the Mustangs are 2-1, but man, it was a battle last Friday night down in Gastonia, wasn't it?
It was, and we expected it to be. One of the reasons we took this trip was I'm very familiar with Forest View High School and the type of athletes that they have, and they have some real speed. So we knew it would be a challenge for us, but we kind of told ourselves, looking ahead, if we're fortunate enough to get to the playoffs, we know these are the type of teams that we're going to see, especially when you get past round one. They're probably going to have to go off the mountain, or they're going to have to come to you. So we wanted to test ourselves early.
I think it was a great test because you look at how the scoring went, and hats off to the defenses for both teams because
Yeah.
it looked like scoring was a real challenge last Friday.
It was. We had some success early, I think, on our second offensive drive. I think we had an 18 to 19 play drive that we were able to score, went for 2 points and got it. But it was a little tough after that. Again, they have a lot of team speed, and we tried to do what we do, and that was run between the tackles, and we did have some success doing that. But hats off to our defense as well. They created several opportunities for us and created several turnovers that really benefited us later.
Coach, talking about turnovers, I think that probably set up your first score as you look back at some of the plays. I know Forest View had a long run, and they had it down at our 29-yard line,
Yeah.
and then we intercept. And that really set up that opening score, didn't it?
It did, and Josiah Ash had a great interception for us, and then we were able to get some things, put some things together offensively, and capped it off with a touchdown.
That I know that was big as Riley Smith had a rushing touchdown there, and we go up 8-0. As you mentioned, got the 2-point conversion, and that was it for the first quarter. It was an 8-0 first quarter. As I think maybe it was a little bit of a chess match as both teams were trying to kind of feel each other out and see what they were trying to do.
I definitely think it was, and one thing for us, we knew we were going to have to adjust to their team speed, but I think also for them, they were going to have to try to make some adjustments for what we like to do offensively. They don't see a whole lot of our style down that way. Everything is spread you out and throw it around, and so it was definitely a contrast of two differing styles, and I think it took the defenses a little while to get adjusted to that.
No question. Getting into that second quarter, they got on the board. They missed their 2-point conversion, but they made it in an 8-6 ball game. But the Mustangs just kept fighting. We came back and had another rushing touchdown with about 8 minutes to go, and then Hunter Cole right in the 2-point conversion, had a 16-12 lead at the half. So I'm sure going into halftime, a lot of adjustments were being thought about because this was a really, really, really tough ball game, wasn't it?
It was, and we knew we were going to have to make some adjustments, and they were really, really hurting us on the perimeter, especially during the second quarter with some of their perimeter runs, their jet sweeps, and then they were throwing some quick stuff out there. So we had to make some adjustments defensively for the second half, and I felt like we did, and their kids did a great job with it in the second half.
Oh, no question. Their quarterback seems like a real athlete down at Forest View. Cooper Phillips, I think he was 9 of 15, had 145 yards passing. But the Mustang defense came up with two big interceptions, and both those really turned out to be big, didn't they?
They did. I think Damon Young had one there in the second half that we were able to score off of after that. And then, later in the game, our defense got a big stop for us on fourth down.
In that third quarter, again, not a whole lot of points. I think 7 points between the two teams in that third quarter. And Forest View actually led, I think, at the end of the third quarter, 19-16. So I'm sure there was a little anxiety and trying to pick that intensity up going into the fourth quarter, I'm guessing.
There certainly was, and we knew we had one more quarter ahead of us, and we were going to have to make some plays. But I was really proud of our team because they didn't put their heads down and just say it was over. They kept fighting and they kept battling, and we felt if we did that, some good things would happen.
And you're exactly right. In that fourth quarter, the Mustangs got the only score as we score on a 2-yard touchdown. Didn't get the 2-point conversion, but hey, that was all we needed for the 22-19 win. But that was just a hard fought game between two 5A teams, Coach. That I think have good things coming up down the road.
Yeah, it was a hard fought game, and like I said before, we knew it would be, and proud of our kids' effort the whole night. They just kept battling, and you get off the mountain. It was hot, it was humid, so a lot of stickiness, and so we had to deal with some of that as well. And but like I said, our guys just kept fighting for 4 quarters.
I know you coached down in that area for a while, Coach, and I'm sure it was a challenge to realize going back down there about all that speed because those teams in the Piedmont really are loaded with speed. And playing here in the mountains, we don't see a lot of that, do we?
No, you really don't. And there's speed everywhere down there. When you're talking about Gaston County, and then you have Mecklenburg right next door, you have Cleveland County. So there's so many teams down there that have just unbelievable speed. But like I said, we wanted to challenge our kids early and face a team like that.
Oh, no question about it. Mustangs are now 2-1. Now it starts getting a little different flavor, if you will, as conference play starts this Friday. And Coach, I tell you, Pisgah is a team I think that maybe had that week number one that wasn't what they wanted to see, but I think they really have a lot in common with our Mustangs because they played good football in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they really have, and it's no surprise to me. Coach Brindley does a great job with them. He has a great staff, and they have some really, really, really good players. So we know it's going to be a tough ball game, and for us, it's kind of like your second season begins because now we're entering conference play, and so we know there's a lot to play for there, and we're going to have our hands full this Friday.
No question. I was able to go over and watch Pisgah a couple of weeks ago, Coach, when they played Swain. They hung on and won that game, stopping a 2-point conversion there literally in the final minute of the game. And it was an interesting game. The first half was both teams played well. I'm not sure Pisgah started real well, but at halftime, the adjustments kicked in. Pisgah came out in that third quarter, and their great running back, Landon Pope. Well, they got it going, and their running game was really effective in that third quarter, and he was really, I think, a difference maker in that game. So he's going to be a tough guy to watch and defend, isn't he?
He really is, and we're familiar with him from last year because I thought he had a really good season last year as a junior, and he has certainly got things going this year, and it's going to be a little different. Our kids are going to have to readjust from what we saw last week, which was a lot of speed and a lot of perimeter runs, and now Pisgah's they're downhill, they're coming at you. So that's going to be a challenge within itself, and they have a quarterback who's an athlete, and they have a really good receiver on the outside, or 2 good receivers, and so that presents some challenges for us.
Coach, do you expect kind of an old mountain football game? As we mentioned, Landon Pope's 5'9", 206, very physical, but the Mustangs obviously like to play physical, especially on defense. So you think that physicality is going to really be a big part of this game?
I definitely think so, and that's kind of what we expect, and I'm sure that's what they expect as well. And the one thing for us, if I had one concern, it would be for us is our lack of depth up front along our offense and defensive line, and that's something that we're always worried about, and I'm sure they do as well. But we expect a very physical football game this Friday.
Yeah, of course, Pisgah coming off a pretty easy win over Inca. They're coming in 2-1, just like our Mustangs. So I'm sure Coach is telling them over there, hey, this, like you just mentioned, start of a brand new season, and really, the conference. And tell me your thoughts on this. I've kind of got mixed emotions, but this year the conference champions aren't quite as big a factor in the playoff selection because it's all going to be based on RPI. And I've talked to several coaches. Some coaches like it, some coaches don't. But it's going to throw a new wrinkle in the playoffs, isn't it?
It definitely is. So, and I've had a lot of discussions about this with other coaches, and listen to people talk about it and share their opinion. But it kind of, to me, is your conference champion really doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, when you talk about just playoffs. Right. And then my question is, and I don't know if it'll ever get to this or not, then why do we need conferences then? And to me, it'd be like just schedule 10 games and see where you are at the end of the season based off your RPI ranking, and go from there. But yeah, it definitely is different this year.
And we're seeing a lot of that somewhat in college football. They're going to the RPI, and now with these mega conferences, everything looks different in the college world. So, and I've heard that same theory that you had there, that hey, conferences might become a thing of the past. I know talking to some folks over in Henderson County, they had the same idea that hey, if we're playing RPI, the conference doesn't mean as much. So that's something totally different than most of us are used to, Coach, isn't it?
It is. It's definitely different, and I can see, some people liking that is not necessarily possibly having a conference in years from now, and I can see other schools being like, hey, wait a minute, we have a hard time finding games as it is, so we like conferences. But 4 years down the road, I'm sure that they'll come up with something different and or something new, and we'll try that for a while.
Oh, no doubt, it's a world of change. Well, Coach, I think it's a good rivalry coming up in this game with Pisgah, because I mean that goes back to the old Silva and Canton days. People in Canton can tell you about some of the great games with the Streeters that they've played in Canton and Silva. So this rivalry is just a great rivalry, and it's good to see it continue, isn't it?
Absolutely, and we know that going over there to their place Friday night, it's going to be a great atmosphere, a great environment to play in, which I think is a plus for both teams to be able to play in those type of games this time of the year. That they mean a great deal to both communities.
Oh, no doubt. I'm sure a lot of people from Jackson County will be traveling over to Haywood County. And you mentioned the weather, Coach. This week, the weather is getting a little more like we like it in the fall, with the temperatures in the 70s. I'm sure these kids are feeling a little better in practice instead of that 80-plus degree heat, aren't they?
Absolutely, and I was reminded of just how much I missed the mountains after going back to Gastonia this past Friday, because it was so hot down there, and then it felt so good when we came back later that night. So no, but the weather is definitely I think turned for the better now, and I know the kids sure do appreciate that.
Oh, no doubt. Well, Coach, we appreciate you for being on with us. Hey, good luck on Friday against those Bears and all those guys over there. I know you know those guys well. It's going to be a great football game, and hey, this conference play adds a little more spice to it. So good luck Friday, and hopefully we can be 3-1 when we talk next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you again.
Thank you, Coach.